Welcome to the Without Intent podcast. Our guest today is CJ Pannel, a full-time tattoo artist and a part-time jack of all trades. Check her out on Instagram at wolfsblood.tdt. Thanks for listening, and enjoy with caution.
So just quick overview of who you are.
Yes, introduce yourself. What's your name? What do you do? What are your pronouns? What are you...
Yeah, that's valid. That's all valid, right? Do you want me to start or you?
Yes.
Okay. So the guest starts.
Yes.
Then. Okay. My name is CJ Pannel. I'm a tattooer in Regina, Saskatchewan, and my pronouns are she, her.
You didn't actually have to do that. That was a dumb joke.
No, seriously. But it is a good thing to have because just depending what sort of the vibe is, sometimes as an intro to who your guest is.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say, you don't have to tell us fucking anything about you if you don't want to fucking say.
I'm a fucking dirtbag and I live in my little goblin basement.
There we go. Perfect. Love the descriptor. So you're a tattooer. How long have you been tattooing for?
Just over 8 years now. Yes.
What got you into tattooing?
I've always been into art since I was a kid. But honestly, when I started to get tattooed and just dealing with body dysmorphia and just general discomfort in my own shell, I really enjoyed the way that getting tattoos made me feel about my body. And I've always really liked to be kind of in the service industry. I like,
you like being in the service industry?
I like making people happy. I do. I like seeing people satisfied with
you are a glass half full kind of person.
Yeah. And it's
respect, but it's exhausting.
And it's not like a people pleasing. I've stepped away from people pleasing, and I still just genuinely enjoy being of service to people. So I like seeing that transformation in other people and seeing them really start to appreciate and enjoy themselves, and then they're able to pursue other things in life when they're not focusing so much on their appearance and how they feel in their shell. Right?
And it takes a certain person to do that shit. I learned early on there's a big difference between just selling somebody something and actually doing something for them.
Oh,
you gotta have the availability to even if it's something little, open up a little bit.
Oh, big time. You have to be more personable.
Whereas anybody could just go sell somebody a fucking lawnmower and just be whatever the person.
I dare you to try to fucking sell a lawnmower.
I did it.
What?
Yeah, my first job was at Sears.
Oh, shit.
I was selling fucking...
I don't know the
I
first
can sell
thing
you
on
a fucking lawnmower.
Yeah.
Evan, lawnmower salesman.
Yeah, I will sell you the one that goes by itself in a heartbeat. Don't worry.
Oh, fuck yeah. the lawnmower Roomba?
Yes, they have those.
What?
Fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, they have lawnmower Roombas now. They have them for your windows too. Well, you can just stick them to the outside of your window and they'll clean it for you.
Oh my god!
The future
CJ
is
leaves
here.
And picks up one of those on her way back home.
What a time to be alive!
Right?
Fuck! Oh my god!
Roombas are the future.
So, where I kind of so I feel like a lot of these podcasts and shit, when it comes to artists, they kind of go through the cliche questions, how long have you been doing this for? What's your favorite piece? And I kind of skipping over all of that shit because it's I don't know, I get fucking bored off of that. So where do you see yourself, I guess, career-wise with the work that you're doing right now, and where you see yourself going as far as your creative path? Do you find yourself kind of taking to different styles or interests in different projects?
I've been actually thinking about that a lot over the last number of years, and especially just with getting, into my mid-30s and health and thinking of the longevity of my career in tattooing, right? I, as a creative person, I see myself more as a creative rather than just a tattooer. So I see myself kind of stepping away from just tattooing and being
finding different avenues.
Yeah. And so part of that is making time, right? And time is money and it's a whole balance. So
we're not good at balance
either.
I've found that to be an overall umbrella with creative people.
Yeah.
We do not know how to balance our craft, our hobbies, our friends, our own health, or etc. We dive too deep into the fucking Kool-Aid and make it a whole lifestyle, which is great, but not sustainable.
No.
We're like obese people. We just give in to the cravings.
Yeah, 100%. My career
Yeah.
is a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't stop.
And like tattooing, like it is arguably the best job in the world. You know, like it's wonderful. I love it, but it's so hard on your body.
Big
And
time.
the demand is insane to be producing brand new pieces on a daily basis sometimes.
100%.
And so I would like to be able to step away enough that like I can still be providing that service that I enjoy providing for my clients, but be able to really nourish myself within my art.
Yeah.
And do things that are more for me, whether I sell them or not, you know?
Taking more of the quality over quantity approach eventually, which I think should be a factor that a lot of creatives should consider in their journey, because I know how tempting it is to dive into the bag of chips or the Kool-Aid, but sustainability and your own health and body is also
long term. Like I would like to tattoo until I die, you know?
No plans for retirement.
No. I want to continue to be able to. Yeah, you
can't retire. What the fuck?
Don't you know? Tattooers we don't retire. We just go till we die in our shops one day.
Yeah, exactly. Seen this rodeo.
Yeah. But I'd like to move into more of a semi-retired lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that. I love that terminology. Is there something that you feel like your idea of tattooing before you got into the job, the career of it, and then the reality of getting into the job and career, did you find that there was a lot of things that didn't align, like what you kind of thought tattooing was?
I like rose-colored glasses and stuff. I just thought it was like this wonderful, magical thing. And I was like, I'm going to work as many hours as I can and all that. And
myself.
The funny thing with like learning tattooing is, in a way, it ruined tattoos for me. Because all these pieces I thought, like, I was like, look at all this amazing art. And then you get into a space where you're learning what the standard is. And now, like, your window of what good art is, it kind of narrows.
Big time.
Yeah.
Well, you start to develop that eye and that taste for kind of like, you know, what is, I don't like to say good or bad, but successful or unsuccessful. And there's a massive list of criteria as to what a properly executed tattoo is. There is the art concept, there's the fit, the flow, the placement, the color tones, then there's the execution. There's so many different things. And what's super fucking funny is that I get what you mean. Like you go into it thinking, oh my God, tattoos are great. And then you're like, there is a lot of garbage out there.
Yeah.
I made some oopsies on my body.
Yeah, exactly.
And you do it for long enough, you see the people that just think of it as drawing with this fucking machine.
100%.
And that's it.
Well,
Somehow they make it through the gate.
Well, yeah. And we were talking about that last night a little bit, is that there used to be kind of just tattooers and scratchers. That was kind of the overall umbrella. But now we're seeing so much that spidering away from these umbrellas, and you have all of these other types of shops being ran, or types of studios, types of artists. And it's not just in tattooing. I need to remind myself that, because I never want to sound like I'm shitting on tattooing or tattooers. But there's a really weird thing that's going on where there's so many weird and crazy dynamics of breaking off from where you started. And I don't know if it's just having social media and seeing that everyone and their moms are now fucking tattooing, or if, lots more people are getting into tattooing too.
Well, and I often will be speaking to people, and like it's usually like clients and people that don't really see the difference in quality and things like that, and they're like, well, art is subjective. I believe, yes, art is subjective as an expression, as a personal expression. As soon as you get into the service industry,
As soon as it's a product.
exactly, it's not subjective. There's rules. Could you imagine like if you paid a graphic designer and they went into MS Paint and gave you something?
Yes.
It's like, well,
Yes.
I can believe it.
Yeah,
I'm not like
right?
I've done it. Yeah.
It looks to the
well,
side.
It's subjective. You know, it's
Yeah.
subjective. It's my art. It's subjective. No, there's what makes a good logo, right?
Yeah.
Like there's structure to it. You can't just be like, well, it's my artistic interpretation.
I tried to make a couple of logos for people, and I was like, I'm not a logo person. Like, I do not know the first thing about the art of that.
Yeah.
Like, get me into tattooing. Sure, I can fucking nerd out about that. But I also am able to see that if I don't know anything about another craft or a trade or a career, I can't just jump in pretending I fucking know and just do it blindly. You need to be able to understand the fundamentals on what is making something successful or not successful. And you can't really do that without having a community built around you or having the proper connections where you can have conversations and you can actually learn. You really just can't dive into it and say like, oh, well, fuck, it's subjective. So I'm just going to keep on going. And my clients say I'm good.
And there are self-taught artists, but it takes a certain amount of drive and willingness to educate yourself and seek out that knowledge.
And to want to keep learning.
Yeah, to be able to succeed. But like that, and that takes much longer. It's not that you can't do it that way,
100%.
but you'll make far more mistakes than if you seek out a mentorship from someone who has experience, because you're learning
100%.
from all the mistakes they made and their teacher made before them.
And you
100%.
need a critical mouth behind you, I think, when you're doing
Mhm.
a lot of this shit, because like I found that when I was learning to groom, like you don't always know what questions to ask.
No,
and you
100%.
need somebody that's going to be like, hey, I know you wouldn't have thought of this, but this fucking blows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know?
big time. And if you're not seeking that, I think you're creating out of a place of ego. You're trying to feed your own validation through whatever means. But if you're not seeking out criticism, looking to improve, then you're not really doing it for the love of the trade and growing and evolving as an artist. You're doing it simply just for the ego.
I've seen two types of those people. I think there's the egomaniacs that not only do they not seek out that knowledge, but they really just like, when they get a chance at it, they don't take it.
Oh
then
no, it
there's-
turns defensive.
And then there's the oblivious people that are just like, I don't like, they never think about reaching out to somebody smarter than them.
Yeah.
You know?
They're like, no, I don't know. I've been doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
No.
They're just like, what else is to know? These look pretty good. They'll get better. That's how it works.
Right?
It's incredibly difficult within an art trade, because as artists, like art, it comes, from like passion and, and soul,
Something
and there's so
deeper,
much like
expression.
sensitivity in that. And so it's this difficult line to be able to take the criticisms, to be able to grow, but to be able to pour that vulnerability into your art as well.
Well, you're
knowing that you're
opening
gonna
up.
get
You're literally
criticized.
opening
Yeah.
up yourself, and it's hard not to take that personally
Yeah.
when that's being critiqued and judged. And luckily, like, there are ways to kind of mentally get yourself there where you can begin to open up to that type of criticism. But it takes a specific type of person, a lot of willingness, a lot of patience, lots of years. It's not something that you can just fuck around.
A lot of
and find
years and a
out.
lot of tears.
Yep.
Yeah, right? So many tears,
Talk
man.
to any artist about their work. They could be the best artist in the world, and they're going to be like, I'm trash. I can
Yep.
always improve.
I
Yeah.
love those people. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I
Yeah.
still fucking can't take a compliment. I can't. I'm just like, I enjoy that I've finally built myself to a position where I can say, you know what, I am proud of the work that I do. It took me a long time to come to that because I always thought that I was letting my ego in, but there's a difference between confidence and egoism, and then being able to say, okay, I'm happy with what I do, but I still want to get better. I still want to keep improving, and that lights me up. That makes me so excited to see that in other people. Like the person who sits down and is like, oh yeah, no, fuck, I'm just crushing it every fucking day, man. Fucking like, look at it, nailing it. I'm like, holy shit. Like chances are there's a lot of weaknesses in many avenues of your work.
That's one thing that was stressed to me in my apprenticeship, was as soon as you think that you're the best and you have nothing to learn, you should just quit.
100%. I was taught that too. And that was something very valuable that I carry forward with me in those fundamental building blocks of exploring a type of trade or career, is that you need to be willing to keep growing. And I know that growth and change is incredibly uncomfortable for people.
Mhm.
This is not just work or art wise. It's incredibly fucking uncomfortable, but you need to lean into that, because if you are not changing, the only thing inevitable in life is change and death. So I would rather go through life knowing that that's going to happen and embrace it than to run away, stick my head in the sand, and pretend it's not gonna fucking happen. Like, it's gonna happen.
Change, death, and taxes.
Yes,
Yes.
change, death, and taxes. That's right. Yes, yes. Too funny. Fuck.
So I want to ask, this maybe for both of you, what do you think you need to do to get to the point where your art that you're making can actually be a sellable product versus a hobby? Like, what do you think clicks there?
At least 5 years of full-time commitment and dedication.
That's a fair amount, and people don't often.
Well, that's 10,000 hours, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
It
think
depends on how many fucking hours you're putting in those 5 years.
People think that we exaggerate when we say that you give up your life for the first 5 years, that you don't have friends, that you don't, you don't get to take part in the hobbies you once took part in. Like,
100%.
I gave up everything and just focused on that. And it's only been, in the last 3 years, even 2 years, I think it was like after about 6 years that I was like, okay, now I can start introducing a couple more hobbies into my life. But I would have to force myself to like go fishing with my husband or whatever.
I have to remind myself that when, like, yes, I nose to the grindstone, keep on going, trucking along, ignoring everything else around me. That's what I do best. I live my life with blinders on. But to be in a position where I'm now realizing that if I can take time to invest into myself, then it actually gives me more in my art.
Mm-hmm.
I am now more fulfilled to push that art to the next level, but I was never there because you had to put so much dedication into learning, and you're gonna constantly learn. But the first at least 5 years need to be nothing but that. This is your fucking crack, and you just have to go hard until you can reach a certain point where you can understand that the other things outside of this are going to start making you become a better artist too, like drawing inspiration from your fishing trips.
Yeah.
Like those fish flash you did were so fucking cool, going out and seeing things. I think that changes your perspective that you can start bringing into your art at that point.
Yeah. And especially, I think something has to be different there when you be like, okay, I'm going to make this a living. Like, I have to get good at it or else I'm going to be fucking poor.
Yes, 100%. And then get to a point where I think like you have a good clientele built, a good relationship built with them, and you're on that path where you can be confident without it being cocky and ego. I think once you kind of hit that point, the next step, at least the way I see an evolution, is to start taking care of yourself so you can start think of the longevity and the other avenues to explore. Like, I love the attitude of I'm a tattooer through and through. That's all I do. Tattoo, 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 go, go, go your whole life. I love it. I'm here for it. But being able to work and create with other mediums is incredibly important to change your perspective coming back into tattooing too. Challenge yourself with the painting, with the etc. And like, I'm saying that out loud for myself to challenge myself, paint more.
Yeah.
Like I think like it is important to have those, I call them side quests.
Yes.
It allows you to take a break, to come back into that project with fresh eyes and learn something. Like paint teaches me you can't control everything. Paint has a mind of its own, and to understand flow. That's what's valuable in painting. And that's why I fucking struggle, is because I'm a goddamn control freak that likes everything to be fucking perfect when it doesn't have to be.
That's why tattooing works so well for me, because I like to dial into those details. But I found that because it's so challenging and intimidating to execute tattooing well, that when I took that step away from doing my painting and stuff, and I just focused on tattooing, and then I was like, oh, I need to get back to painting. I used to stress over my paintings. I used to put them aside because I was like, what if I screw it up?
I just do mushrooms,
man. Ever since
drugs,
tattooing,
and it makes it easier,
right? But ever since tattooing, going back to painting, I'm like, oh fuck, I could fuck this up and just start it over. And it gave me this confidence to be able to explore more of that flow and to dive into that. Right?
It is
Tap
so
into
true.
The flow.
It is so true. When the pressure is permanently fucking up someone's body for life, it doesn't matter what other fucking like hobby I have. It's probably not going to be that stressful.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
That's why I like what I do. 4 months later, I can just
Yeah.
Do a better job.
Yeah, 100% too funny.
So, do you do anything that isn't visual art?
Oh, yeah.
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 Do you think it helps?
Absolutely. And I like to bring in that inspiration into my art, right?
Yeah.
So like I have a long list of skill sets because I just like to explore all sorts of different things.
Please light up my brain and save me a second.
Yeah. Let the ADHD go.
So I took welding all through high school.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I went to SciAS for auto mechanics.
Dope.
I've been sewing since I was about 4 years old, so that's 30 odd years now.
Yeah.
I cook and I bake. I got into making edibles where I was decarbing and prepping all the butter and doing all
some
that
fucking
myself.
shit to that.
And then doing all of the calculations and the
I didn't
math,
realize
to be able to calculate dosage
Yeah.
per portion. I've done woodworking. Anything I can get my hands on, I have probably tried for at least a little bit. Yeah. I showed Mouse my hobby closet.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's an adorable room too, and like whole full sewing station, everything. And I'm standing in there, and I'm like, how is a tattooer organized? like I love it, but this almost fucking makes me panic.
I got into
it's like crazy the hobby list, and I love that.
Recently embroidery, and I've been applying, and that's a nice thing with like tattooing. The structure of art that tattooing is so easy to apply to so many different styles of like art, right? Like there's so many mediums, I guess, right? So now I've been applying tattoo art to embroidery.
Yeah, that's
dope.
Super fucking cool. I love that when you can actually like take one thing and mesh it together with another thing, and like I don't know, that shit lights me up. I've been trying to do that with like my tattoo art. I really enjoy color portrait or black and gray portrait because that's what I kind of grew up on. I was always in art school and it was always realism and black and gray. I did a lot of pencils and charcoal was my thing. And getting into tattooing, I was like, oh fuck, I have to learn to draw from scratch. Like I've only been actually drawing and learning the components of bringing something out of your brain for only like the past like 8 years. And I'm like, I love being able to, I want to like mesh both of that, like, heavy, solid color packed neotrad with soft black and gray realism, and just bringing two things together that are completely opposite and just morphing those projects together is so neat in not only tattooing, but other avenues too.
So what's one thing, we want to keep some positive vibes here, I think we talked about last time. And as critical as we are, what's one thing you think you just knocked out of the park recently?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. My memory is so bad. Like once I do a piece, it just kind of like goes out the window. I take pictures of every single thing I do, and then I'll like go through my phone and be like, oh, damn. Okay, that sparked my memory. I did one on a really good friend of mine recently, and she wanted Pangu.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, nice. I was down for that one. I remember that.
Yeah. And I was so happy with the way it turned out. Yeah, because it was him playing around with glitter and just like executing like the little glitter bits in the tattoo was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I did my first like glitter on that Rainbow Bright piece there. I'm like, I absolutely fucking love that client and the whole like project and everything about it. It's just fun. Like flowing so good, and I get to have fun, and we're doing like a whole bunch of other pieces that's like that nostalgia with like childhood and stuff, and I'm like just pushing those like bright ass rainbow colors, man. Oh my god, that lights me up. That's fucking super sick.
Right? Because we got to have that as artists every now and then. You got to be like, that was good. You got to give yourself the credit and be like, that was fucking
100%.
Something special. Yeah.
I have been very proud of some of my Japanese pieces I've been doing because that's what my teacher specialized in. And that's something that I do want to work towards, is doing more Japanese.
It's just so much to learn.
I'm proud. Yeah, I'm proud of my, progression in developing into that style. But I know I still have a lot to learn. So like, I'm still very critical of that. So I can't be like, yeah, I fucking crushed it. But for where I am right now learning it, like I'm very happy.
Yeah.
With, the way my pieces have been coming along.
Well, it's so crazy because I think in our brains, you know, there's where we see our work where we want it to be. And then when you're going through the learning stages, it's not there and it's frustrating and it's hard. And then you kind of begin to accept that the path and those kind of ups and downs to the point that you kind of like lean into it more, you know, where you're like, okay, I know I'm not there, but I'm really starting to enjoy this journey of, okay, I could do better with this, that, or the other thing. And that next piece, you're like, okay, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to challenge myself with this. And then you're like, fuck, now I have to go and learn to fucking scale this back or do that. Like, it's almost addicting to tattoo and then go, okay, I need to work on this, that, or the other thing. And then like every time, like trying to one up your last performance, but it takes a fucking ton of energy out of you.
And I find I have to give myself time. So like being a critical person, right? If you analyze the thing you just did, you're going to hate it. You going back having just finished it. But if I give myself, you know, a couple days, couple weeks, or even months, and I look back, or even I've looked back on pieces I did early in my career in the first year or two. And I'm like, fuck, like that actually is sick. You know, like I did a really good job.
First like 4 5 years.
But
hey,
yeah,
Evan.
because I can see my progression. I can see where I've come from. And I'm looking back and I'm like, you know what? For where I was in my career, I wasn't doing too bad. And it's just like that self, you know, criticisms, or you'll look at pieces and even though overall you're like, okay, like I could have done better, you can pick out pieces and be like, why did I stop doing leaves like that? Or, you know, like adding these little details and stuff. So it's good to look back and kind of
and appreciate
reflect.
your growth. And then sometimes I find in my mind, I make it worse than it was. And then I look back and I'm like, okay, well, maybe it wasn't that bad other than the first at least 3 years. Holy fuck, that was garbage. 4 years, 5.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, woof. But yeah.
But you know, like give yourself another 10 years and you may look back and be like, I can see where my heart was. I can see, you know, that I was making an effort and I was showing that I was
just showing up.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, you gotta just keep showing up and it hurts and it kills and you got no ego. You got no spirit, but you're still doing it. Fuck.
This is why I like talking with people like you guys, because I'm only in that like year and a half space of my career now.
It's so interesting seeing, because you are just finding your passion. You are not there yet. You have not put in the hours yet. You're still in that very beginner learning phase.
Yeah.
And you have that direction where I'd like to go, you know, like you said, private. I'd like to have specialties and everything and build that community, that reputation, and that clientele relationship too. Like, it's so neat to watch this journey. I can't wait to see all the places you will go.
I know, I'm excited. I feel, especially hearing like people like you guys talking about the trenches of like those just shitty shops that you started in. I'm like, this
you
is
have to pay your dues.
This is where I belong.
100%.
As much as it sucks, this is where I belong.
Yeah. Like I went from getting my foot in the door to having a very, very valuable apprenticeship that I'll never regret. I definitely had an amazing experience that you cannot put money value to. And then having to readjust my course and kind of go back to a place where I could fuck around for a little bit, you know. There's only so much that telling somebody and showing somebody will do until like the learning curve for me was very fucking difficult. Like, as soon as I had a machine in my hand, I was like, holy fuck, this is bad. And then my mentor was like, yeah, this is fucking bad. Get the fuck out. And I'm like, yeah, all right, peace, man. I fucking understand. And then kind of going to a point where I was like, hey, I'm focusing on just those tiny little, you know, little walk-ins and until I can start seeing things coming back clean and healed. Because I knew the things I was taught, but I was not able to apply it. There was a lost in translation in my brain that just needed patience, that just needed repetition. And then when things start to like really start to click and you can start to hone in on where are some of my strengths and where I should be working a little bit more on, and then continuing to develop those relationships with other artists. I think that community is incredibly important with artists. And it hurts me so bad to see so many amazing artists wanting to close the door on each other because we've all been fucking hurt and wounded. I get it. I do. But in order to move forward, I like to see the other side of the coin. We do have people who are driven, who do fucking understand, who do want to put in the fucking work. And maybe they're not there yet, but it's not worth slamming the fucking door in their face, you know? But I get it, because it does look like it's a lot of just BS all around everywhere you fucking look, you know? I get it. I get why you're jaded, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a skill within itself. That's
100%.
the gym really taught me. Like, yeah, you got to find that balance of perfecting your strengths and just grinding your weaknesses all the time.
Big time. I'm noticing that the more now that I'm focusing on taking care of my body, how my perspective is kind of changing around me, because to me, I'm starting to build a community around me of people who are working towards fitness goals, and I love it. The energy and enthusiasm is amazing, and it's always not criticizing. It's always giving advice and critiquing, you know, fit and like your form and everything. I'm saying fit and flow, like I'm talking about tattooing my fucking brain.
Well, it does transfer over.
100%. When you can start to see those things clicking, it's again like not just in tattooing or in your career, it's in your own life journey and life path. And once I was able to kind of see the world a little bit differently in that aspect, I'm like, man, like creatives are so fucking cool, but we are our biggest fucking problem. And no one wants to really talk about it for real. Like everybody just wants to fucking sit and bitch about each other. But I'm like, man, is anybody like actually doing a whole lot to fucking pull people's heads out of their asses?
Right. And like you need that village around you. You've said this about 9 times since
takes
we
a village
started.
to raise a child, and it rings in my head over and over and over. I'm like, because my apprenticeship, I can't say that I had one mentor. I can't say that. I had so many people around me that contributed to helping me or believing in me in different avenues and aspects and everything. Like I can't give credit to any one person. And I also have to give credit to myself too for showing up and doing the fucking work. But I can't be ignorant and just say, well, I can fucking do this on my own and just get there by continuing to grind. No, we need community. We need the critiques. We need to be able to work and adapt and grow and build. It's why I love conventions. It fucking teaches you adaptability, man. I show up and everything is not in order and everything's going wrong. And now the printer's not fucking working. And it teaches you to adapt around other people who are all trying to adapt and keep their head above water. And everyone's fucking panicking. And I love it. I love it. Because at the end, you hear like so many people like, I'm so happy we just fucking survived. I did it, man. And it's like going through war on the other side.
It's trial by fire. Like just the learning curve with tattooing it's incredibly steep. You know, and then, yeah, you throw yourself into a convention where everything's all over the place.
And you really see what you're made of when it comes to your crisis management skills.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're all piss poor at it.
Yeah. So you can learn in a shop, right? But as soon as you get into a convention and the dynamics has shifted and how you make a stencil is different because you have to go all the way to another booth and
have someone else make it for you.
Your setup is different. You're working off the corner of a table.
Oh, and then you have somebody across the row or beside you who's just crushing sweet ass shit. And you're like, okay, man, like I need to just go home and cry or cry behind the curtain. It's fine.
Having complete strangers come and go and walk up to you, right? Yeah. Like that's really intimidating, especially when they're another tattooer.
Oh, big time. I even struggle walking up to booths. I felt so bad this weekend. Because I definitely had my like eyes to the ground and I was not really like looking at everybody. Like I love everybody, but man, I really want to crush this piece. This is all I'm doing for 3 days and it's been consuming my soul for fucking months. And I was like, no, I just felt like I needed something that I was like, fuck yeah, I'm proud of that piece, you know? And I was like, man, I could not deal with any of the anxiety around other people. I was like, I'm going to come off as a dick. But that's fine. I got to do me right now this week. I don't fucking care. Like,
I heard that from a lot of people, actually, though. They're usually really confident at conventions and will go and, like, check out all the booths, whether they know them or not. And the people I was talking to this weekend, they're just like, I just only went and talked to people I already knew. Otherwise, I felt so anxious and nervous.
Well,
like, what is wrong with all that?
There's a lot of divide happening in the tattoo community, and I think that everyone can feel that in their own sense and their own paths and everything. Like, so it's weird to gauge relationships with new artists because, again, we all have been burned. Yes, we've all met unsavory personalities or people. And we're all, at least if you're a decent artist, our own worst fucking critics. So then you put a whole bunch of these little anxious guinea pigs in together and you make it high school all over again. It's like, it's so fucking funny. But I definitely feel that where everybody's like, I want to kind of like get to know some of these new people, but I don't know. And then we all just kind of like revert back and hermit ourselves again for another year or whatever. Oh, it's too funny.
Yeah, it seems like a wild environment. I went for an hour and I was just overwhelmed.
All right. I was so pumped that you came by though. And I was like, I said my like quick hi and I was like, damn it, I'd like to walk a lap with you, but I have no fucking
Conventions are incredibly overstimulating. There's so much going on.
And I gotta hit up another one on Thursday. I have no voice. Like at all, and I'm like 2 back to back. Cool, it'll be fun.
I specifically like remembered to bring my earplugs from work because I was like, I know that this is going to be too much.
I forgot mine. I have to bring them to fucking Edmonton, but I got those like you told me about the loop. Yeah,
that's what I have. Those are so good.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, especially just being overstimulated. It's too fucking much. I
brought them with me. I didn't find I needed to use them, but just knowing I had them there,
that was nice.
Made it way more comfortable.
Yeah, 100%.
Which ones do you use?
The 18 decibel.
Oh, the like strongest one.
I don't think it's the strongest.
Or is the 20?
I think it's a 24. Just reduces by 16 or 18 decibels or something like that.
Yeah,
it's perfect for concerts.
Oh yeah!
Oh my god! It feels like you're just listening to a recording almost.
See, I have the hardest ones that I use for work, and I find I don't know if they're like the truth to what they say about them by how many decibels they do is real, but it's insane because we have like cheap earmuffs that the company gives us, and you can't hear shit through them, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, I can just keep mine in when I'm like blow drying a dog, and it doesn't like give me headaches at the end of the day. But then I can go out front and still hear like phone calls and like people talking to me. So I think there's something to those fucking loop headphones.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're rad.
Earplugs. Yeah,
definitely. I brought my like earbuds to listen to music while I was tattooing because like I find it kind of rude to do that with a client, but if you know the client really well and you guys are both in the zone, or either one doesn't mind, sometimes I really need to tune out all of the sounds around me, especially when different booths start competing with their music.
Oh, God.
And everybody brought a speaker, and like you got rap in one corner, you've got, metal in the other, pop in another, and everybody's like turning their speakers up louder over each other. I'm like, hey, fuck, guys. It's just so much going on.
And everybody thinks, oh, no, we need our own specific.
Yeah, be louder than the other guy. And they're like, you know what? I'll be louder too because I got a big dick. And like, just fucking back and forth. Jesus Christ, guys.
I was walking around there like, I don't want it to be that close with any of these people because this seems like chaos. Just like...
It is chaos. It's chaos in a beautiful form. Like, I don't know if it's just like me in love with it. But it's chaotic and
it's fun.
Awesome.
It's the closest thing that I get to experience to a street shop now.
Yeah, big time. And guest spots too. Yeah, like guest spots are very, very important. And
but usually like you book ahead with guest spots and stuff. So like
conventions too.
I do a couple pieces for conventions, but I do like the the hustle. Of just trying to rope someone in to come get tattooed right at that moment.
Yeah. You like to keep yourself on your toes a little more here and there,
it's fun as hell. And even doing like dumb shit. Like I got to do that Nike swoosh. I was just like, this is sweet.
Do it. Yeah. Love it.
And I'm like, I'm going to crush it. Like that's going to be fucking so crisp.
Fuck yes. Yeah. No, they're super fun. So would you say you had a successful weekend?
Yeah.
It was a good year.
I really enjoyed myself. It was a lot of fun. And like even I chose not to tattoo on Sunday. And
But you're smart.
yeah.
I've done that a couple of times and I'm always like, oh, I'm really happy that I decided to take it easy on Sunday.
And I don't want to do that all the time
No.
because what's the point of going to a convention if you're not going to work the whole weekend?
100%. Or you're making it look real shitty if you're
Yeah.
like intentionally abandoning the booth the
Yeah.
whole time. Like, I get it. Sometimes go and hang out a little bit more because for me, conventions are big about networking and chatting with other artists. Like, my apprenticeship, that was very, very heavily drilled into me. I'm very thankful to build that community and talk to other artists. And, that's for me a big part of conventions. But there's a difference balance between hustle and enjoy it. And like, we aren't good at balance. At least I'm not. And I haven't met a tattooer who is good at balancing all things in their life. I haven't yet.
I'm trying.
Yeah,
there.
you're on a path.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to not just like go for the cravings.
Yeah, because it's all consuming, and I think that's one part of all artists. We have this need to either express ourselves or escape through something, and it's such a deeper, and it's so weird because this whole idea I got started on was like, what is art? What defines art? Why do we make art? And I think it's a topic that never fucking ends at all. But we all feel like if you were an artist, you feel that need to create. Like it's an impulse that you can't shake, you can't get rid of. You need to get it out on that medium, on that paper, on that whatever. And it's so interesting because I don't know why we have this, but I like the idea of trying to figure it out.
Yeah. It's funny, talking about that need to create. Once you move into a space where you are selling your creations, people start to see you as just, another
machine.
Yeah, that you can purchase anything.
That you just crank it out no matter what.
Yeah. So I am often hesitant to even post like the sewing that I do and even sometimes baking because I've been asked to sell it.
Yep.
And then you're like, I don't want to make that a job now
Right?
too. Fuck.
I like to do it for me and I like to share what I'm doing, but
you need a hobby.
Yeah.
Side quest.
And I find like where tattooing is with like all the shows and just like tattooing's cool as fuck, don't get me wrong, but over the last like decade or so, it's really grown
Big
in
time.
the mainstream.
Big time.
And so we're seen as just like machines, right? Where we can just produce and anything that we can make is open to be like purchased.
Yep.
100%. You need to keep a little piece of yourself. You can't give everybody.
I've been trying to move away from creating to sell things because when I would draw for myself, I'm like, I should just draw flash.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be just painting just for me. I should draw flash. So that was a big reason why I got into cooking and baking because those are things that are just for me to enjoy.
Oh, 100%.
I'm not gonna,
until you make your cookbook.
Yeah.
You're fucking excited.
But then the idea with doing that is to inspire other people to create for themselves. Yeah. And so if they want to try the food that I make, they can access it by making my recipes rather than me having to make something and hand deliver it.
I think that's the best place you can take a hobby to is let it be a hobby. And then at the end of the day, just have like this, I don't know if I'm going to call it a masterpiece, but like this like culmination of the years that you've spent on your hobby. That's probably the best way to do it at the end of the day.
Oh, 100%.
Where you can just let yourself like have that fun with it and not feel the pressure. And then one day just be like, okay, I don't need the pressure because I've got all this like backlog. Of me
100%.
doing it.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, then it sneaks up on you. You don't realize like what you've accomplished.
Yep.
Too, because you're just doing it just for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you're just
having
head
a set
down,
goal.
grinding away. And then the moment you look up, you can kind of be like, oh, shit, we got this far. That's fucking cool.
Well, and then with tattooing, I find because like I have a goal that it always feels so far away. Right. But then with baking and stuff, I never had a goal. So I keep surpassing like any sort of expectation I would have had. And I can look back and be like, wow, like I have recipes that I have created from scratch.
Yeah. That's super cool. That's what I like about this project and why I want to go into. I've tried to control everything in my life and life tells me I can't control shit. But I was like, I want to do something that's outside of tattooing that I still feel like inspired by And I don't want to have it rigid. Like even going into this, like I don't really want to have a whole lot of structure and just see what fucking happens. Cause I really enjoy neat people and hearing, like, I've always enjoyed spending time with you. You're always like somebody that I'm like, oh, CJ's always like very inspiring. You're always trying something new and you're really good to make that conversation about and critique and bounce ideas back and forth and shit. So like those people are the shit. I fucking
Thank you.
I love that. Step away from the ego, man.
Yeah, like I like to be inspired by the people that I interact with and get to hang out with.
Big time. If they're not filling up your cup in any way and you're not filling up theirs, there's a difference between acknowledging that you love and care about somebody, but you're taking a step back, maybe emotionally or physically, because you need to fill up your own cup or you need to take your distance. You can love from afar. But I found myself recently being like, you know what? The people in my life that I want in my circle and I want close to me are all people that I need to be inspired by at the end of the day. I need to be hanging out with them. And I'm like, fuck, man, I want to go crush it even fucking harder now. And I didn't realize how much more addicting and enabling that is for my own fucking problem. I work too much, but that inspiring people are fucking, I think, definitely underestimated. Big time. I love it. Fucking, we meet so many weird ass neat people in this job, man.
Yeah.
Especially with something like this where you can take on a hobby that's like with other people. Like it's so easy to start a hobby where you just like you sit in your kitchen and you just bake something by yourself, or I'm just sitting on my computer making music. Like having something where you're like, no, we're gonna rely on other people to like pull their weight.
That like, okay, well, we gotta do this. Like we've buckled into a fucking train ride, Evan. I don't know where it's going. I know it's going to go up and down.
Oh, yeah.
Probably down a lot of fucking times. We're going to have to readjust course. We're going to have to tighten the belt a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever. Like, that's the exciting part of trying something new. You're not going to understand unless you just do it. And I'm like, I'm tired of overthinking things in my life. I'm tired of overthinking myself. I just want to do things that inspire me, can hopefully maybe start inspiring other people or challenge the way that they see things and just see what fucking happens. Fuck around and find out. I don't know. I really love that. That's another.
I often laugh about my choice to pursue tattooing because I'm a highly anxious person and it is such a stressful job. I'm just like, why did I do this to myself?
All of us are sitting there thinking the same fucking thing. Yeah. Really? This is what we did? Yeah. We thought it was cool.
I know. Before I started doing the dogs, I thought I was the least patient person in the world.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, wow, you can actually hold it together under pressure. Like,
well, I can't imagine the patients that in your job, because again, like with dogs, like when they no longer want to fucking sit there for anything. Like, you're fucked. You can't, or somebody, Coco's not fucking having it. Like, you can't tell Coco what to really do if Coco don't want to listen. Like,
right. Well, it's always funny when I tell people I really wanted to tattoo back in the day.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it because I didn't think I had a steady enough hand. And now look at me.
And now you're like dog grooming, like
now I'm
taking scissors close to eyeballs.
Yeah. Now I'm like, oh, apparently you can learn a steady hand, I guess.
Yeah, you can.
In the right situation when you want to.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And that's part of your journey, learning your tools and your strengths, your weaknesses, and learning how to work with that in the right setting with the right people around you. It's going to be its own journey that you're strapping in for, you know?
Yeah. I had a good lesson the other day. I dropped a pair of scissors, like right as I started my day. And like one of my workhorses, and it was such a bitch trying to work around it with like stuff that like didn't work, but I had to make it work.
Yeah.
That was fucking painful.
Yeah. There's days where suddenly like, something just does not go according to plan.
But you learn to adapt.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to.
Super important to come across those challenges.
Yep. Go cry for a little bit, come back, change course.
And then look back at it like, okay, how can I prevent that too?
Exactly. Maybe having like a backup set eventually.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. That's when I learned. I was like, okay, we gotta go shopping on.
Learn from your mistake.
That's why I always go to a convention with like extra machines, because I'm like, anything fucking happens and I don't have time to fix something or whatever, because you have to learn the hard way sometimes.
Yeah. No, I had to learn that the hard way. I was like, because I have backups for a lot of my shit, but that that one.
Except
I was
for
like,
that.
I don't have a backup straight pair of scissors. This is the most basic shit. This is such a workhorse for me,
Yeah.
and I don't have a backup.
Man, I don't know shit. Who the fuck let this guy in charge of anything?
It hit the ground. I was like, how did I not think this was going to happen?
Yeah. Right away. Ah, fuck, I'm dumb.
The worst is when it's like, it'll never happen to me. It's fine.
Yeah.
As soon as you do
The
that,
next
the
day-
universe is like,
Yeah.
nope.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. The
I'm
second-
like, oh, I have a case for it. I put them away. I just, I take
It's in
my
a
time
safe
taking
spot.
them out. No.
Yeah. It's me. I'm the problem.
I'll move real quick.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The second I'm like, fuck yeah, I figured something out. Life is like, oh, think again. Shit. Oh, fuck. That's too good. Sweet. How long have we been going for? Long enough. This is a good stopping point. That was fun.
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
I enjoy the
Fun expression. Good job, team.
Yeah, apparently
Yeah, team.
I am not drinking seltzers this time, so I don't think I had one burp into the microphone.
I think this time was all me.
Yeah.
But my burps are little, so
Yeah, I didn't really fucking hear any good ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, this has been
Good
fun
time.
though.
Yeah. Anything else? Your Instagram?
Where do you want
Where-
people to find you? Do you want
Do
people
you?
to
Yeah,
find
you don't have to.
Sure. If you're interested in following me, my Instagram is wolfsblood.tdt.
Yeah, we'll just throw that in the descriptor of the podcast that currently has no name and no
Yeah.
direction. And
Yeah.
Figure it the fuck
Has
out.
yet to be named.
yeah, we'll figure it out. It'll be fun. It's like a little timestamp journal on this journey. We're going to figure it out. I don't know. Cool.
Cool.
Bye.
Yeah.
Me.
Satan's Forcing on Instagram.
Yeah, mouse tattoos.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.